Welcome back. 2023 was another year of grim statistics and deadly gun violence in the United States. According to data compiled by the Gun Violence Archive, 650 mass shootings occurred in 2023, including the tragic mass shootings in Lewiston, Maine in October that left at least 18 people dead. Overall, more than 18,000 people died as a result of gun violence this year. That number includes homicides, murder, defensive gun use, and unintentional shootings. More than 1,600 of those deaths were children or teens. And while gun violence isn't slowing down, gun reform efforts on Capitol Hill are effectively stalled. I'm joined now by Kris Brown, who's the president of the BRADY organization, which is united against gun violence. So, Kris, those numbers are staggering. They're hard to believe in many ways. But it is unfortunately par for the course for gun violence in the United States in recent years. I mean, where do you see the fight against gun violence taking us in 2024?
Where we have been over the last several years, honestly, with the Biden administration really leading unprecedented efforts at the federal level and improvement and change. We passed the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act just about 2 years ago. It provides record funding to states and localities across this country. Now those states and localities have come forward. The White House created the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention. They just met with state and local officials to talk about how they're going to use those funds in community-based programs to really save lives, because these statistics aren't just ones. Sadly, for BRADY, as a survivor-led organization, we know countless Americans who just celebrated the holiday season without a loved one at the table. We have an epidemic before us. And so what has to happen is the continued momentum, frankly, of the gun violence prevention movement, working with state and local and federal lawmakers, too, to continue the momentum that we've gained, because we have far too many guns in America today. We have over 400 million guns in circulation. So ensuring that guns are safely stored, that they can only be legally purchased, bought, and sold are two of the primary things that we're focused on at BRADY.
So we didn't see much movement from Congress this year as it relates to gun violence, even though there were a number of deadly mass shootings that we talked about already. I mean, what do those stalled efforts tell you about the state of gun reform in the United States right now? And does it make the 2024 election even more important?
Absolutely. What it tells me is what Sarah Brady said. If you can't change the laws, you change the lawmakers. Look, we have a situation in America, when you look at poll after poll after poll about basic protections that are necessary to save lives. For example, expanding the BRADY background check system. That bill passed Congress in 2018 when we elected a gun violence prevention majority. It passed again in 2020 in the House of Representatives when we kept that gun violence prevention majority. The thing that Americans across the country don't understand is how can 90% of us, 90 across the country, support these kinds of efforts and they stall. Typically, they stall in the Senate. And so what we have to do, and what we see happening across the country, is make this issue a top priority. And I would say to you, we see that across red and blue states because parents across this country are becoming more and more afraid of dropping their kids at school. People are afraid to go to the mall, and they don't want to live this way anymore. So it is a top priority issue. And
we only have less than a minute, but are you concerned that maybe Americans are becoming a little too numb to the news of these mass shootings, given they happen so often, and that many times there isn't much that results from these in terms of tangible change?
Look, it's heartbreaking and horrific and far too frequent. I agree, hearing about these shootings on TV. The reality, though, is we're not talking about them nearly enough, because even though the mass shootings, those involving 4 or more people, do get reported if there's scale, often, and that means carnage, often what we're seeing is communities that experience everyday gun violence, right, not getting reported in the same way. And what I hear from people isn't a feeling of defeat. It's a feeling of wanting to make a difference. And all of us can, because we don't want to be next. I mean, it's just that simple. Yeah. And so I think this will continue to be a top priority.
Okay, Kris Brown, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Have a happy new year.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.